Hi, my name is Elle. I'm a cross-stitch artist and designer here on TikTok, and today I'm going to be answering Vanessa's question. She's talking about this pattern that she got on Etsy that she really loves, but the outer design was difficult due to the single lines. Do I have any tips for that? So I actually went and searched for this pattern on Etsy, and what I'm seeing is that this pattern actually uses two slightly different versions of backstitching, and this is a really great example of how to change your backstitching style to match the way that you want your piece to look and also the difficulty of how your piece is going to be. Some people find it easier to just outline each and every stitch with vertical stitches and horizontal stitches only going one little box at a time. And it looks like that is the kind of stitching that was used on the outline of the actual Luna moth. Which it seems like that was the part you were actually having some difficulty with. So I would recommend softening those shapes by creating angles or like diagonal lines, gentle sloping diagonal lines, instead of doing these hard little boxy lines around the outside of the piece. And those types of stitches are used on this piece as well, especially when I'm looking at, you know, the little antenna coming off of the moth's head and the shapes of the flower stems and things like that. I'm going to show you another piece that I stitched. It is not my design, but this is a piece that I stitched that has some places where I could have, because of straight lines, either vertical or horizontal, I could have gone one single stitch at a time, but instead I drew it over 2 to 3 stitches at a time to make a longer horizontal line or vertical line. But it also includes a lot of those soft diagonals to make the piece look more like it was outlined in pen or inked in pen when it was done. So let me show you that. All right, so this is a piece that I stitched a while back. And as you can see through here, this is a horizontal line, but if you look at it closer, I did it in little chunks, and I definitely did not do every single stitch all along the way. But when you take a step back, it just looks like a big solid line. But all of these other lines, in fact, the majority of the lines on this piece are gentle diagonals that are used to give sort of sloping lines and shape to the piece and adding detail. So I think that you could definitely replace some of those little straight lines that are just going like across and up and across and up and across and up around the outside of that moth and give it a gentler, more natural look. These pumpkins look more realistic because they are not completely outlined in little boxy pixel shapes, and instead it's these gentle diagonals. So even though the pattern might not call for that, you might be able to substitute and just make your own little tweaks to the pattern. When you do that, you will have a little bit of this issue where you can see the color coming down below it. But honestly, like I said, when you take a step back and you look at the piece as a whole, you really don't notice the little bits that stick out past the outlining of the piece. It's an artistic choice. Some people really don't like that you can see the color sticking out, and so they would much prefer the, you know, boxy outline look. It really is down to personal preference. Anyway, I hope that helps, and as always, happy stitching.